Yes?
Lady Catherine de Bourg.
Come right in, Lady Catherine. Come right in. Won't you, sit down?
That lady, I suppose, is your mother.
Yes, she is. Mamma, this is Lady Catherine de Bourg.
And that, I suppose, is one of your sisters.
Yes, ma'am. She is my youngest girl, but one. My youngest of all is lately married.
You have a very small garden, madam.
Could I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps, your lady?
Absolutely not. I need to speak to Miss Elizabeth Bennet alone, as a matter of urgency.
You can get no loss to understand the reason for my journey, Miss Bennet.
Indeed, you are mistaken, madam. I am quite unable to account for the honor of seeing you here.
Miss Bennet, you ought to know I am not to be trifled with. But however insincere you choose to be, you shall not find me so.
Miss Bennet, a report has reached me of a most alarming nature. I was told that you, Miss Elizabeth Bennet, were shortly to be engaged to my nephew, Mr. Darcy. Of course, I could not believe this report could possibly be true. Nevertheless, I immediately resolved upon setting out to see you.
If you believed it to be impossible, I wonder you took the trouble of coming so far.
To hear it contradicted, Miss Bennet.
Your coming will be rather a confirmation, surely, if indeed such a report exists.
If? Do you then pretend to be ignorant of it?
Miss Bennet, I insist on being satisfied. Has my nephew made you an offer of marriage?
Your ladyship has declared it to be impossible.
It ought to be so. But your arts and allurements may have made him forget what he owes to himself and all the family. You may have drawn him in.
If I had, I should be the last person to confess it.
Insolent, headstrong girl. I'm ashamed of you. Is this your gratitude for my attentions to you at Rosings?
I am almost the nearest relation he has, and I am entitled to know all his nearest concerns.
But you are not entitled to know mine, nor will such behaviour as this induce me to be explicit.
Let me be understood. Mr. Darcy is engaged to my daughter. Now what have you to say?
Only this, if that is the case, you can have no reason to suppose he would make an offer to me.
You selfish girl.
The engagement between them is of a peculiar kind. From their infancy, they have been intended for each other.
Do you think it can be prevented by a young woman of inferior birth, whose own sister's elopement resulted in a scandalously patched-up marriage?
Imagine it. My nephew Darcy, scouring the courts and alleys of London looking for him. Setting him up with an income.
Did he do that? Oh, thank you for telling me, Lady Catherine. Thank you.
I will not be thanked.
I have not been in the habit of brooking disappointment.
That will make your ladyship's situation at present more pitiable, but it will have no effect on me.
I will not be interrupted. If you were sensible of your own good, you would not wish to quit the sphere in which you've been brought up.
Lady Catherine, in marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself as quitting that sphere. He is a gentleman, I am a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal.
But who is your mother? Who are your uncles and aunts? Do not imagine me ignorant of their condition.
Whatever my connections may be, if your nephew does not object to them, they can be nothing to you.
Do not pretend to possess equal frankness with your ladyship. You may ask a question which I may choose not to answer.
This is not to be borne.
Are you aware that as trustee of my sister's estate, I can strip Mr. Darcy of every shilling he has? And if he were to marry against my wishes, I should not hesitate in carrying out my power. Now, what have you to say?
Nothing whatever.
Your alliance would be a disgrace. Your name would never even be mentioned by any of us.
These would be heavy misfortunes indeed.
Are the shades of Pemberley to be thus polluted?
Once and for all, are you engaged to him?
No, I am not.
And will you promise never to enter into such an engagement?
I will not, and I certainly never shall.
Ah, so you do expect him to propose to you?
I have no right to expect anything, excepting perhaps never to see him again.
You have insulted me in every possible way and can now have nothing further to say.
I must beg to return to the house. You have no regard, then, for the honor and credit of my nephew. Unfeeling, selfish girl.
I have never been thus treated in my entire life.
Lizzie, what on earth is going on?
Small misunderstanding.
Lizzie?
For once in your life, leave me alone!
Well?
A blank refusal.
She refused to see me.
She refused not to see you.
Did she?
Most emphatically. But that's not the worst, Darcy. I told her that I could strip you of your fortune if I chose to. But she refused to be the least bit impressed.
You see?
Yes, I see, Darcy. I grant I was wrong about that. But there's one thing I can't agree with. You told me at Rosie's she was nothing if not decided. That's not true. The young woman is positively obstinate.
What? Did she refuse anything else?
Well, she merely refused to marry you. What the? Darcy, what manners? You've gone mad.
Yes, quite mad, and I don't believe I shall ever be quite sane again. But you wouldn't wish me to be, would you?
No, I don't think I would. She's right for you, Darcy. You were a spoiled child, but we don't want to go on spoiling you. What you need is a woman who will stand up to you. I think you found her.